A very good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here, and we are from Group 6 based in Melbourne. So, as you guys can see the screen behind me, today we're going to talk about the cross-culture management based on the case study of the Inpex Corporation. So, there are 3 members in my team. So, my name is Socheata. I'm the first presenter, and I'm going to cover the introductions, the issues of the company, and as well as I'm going to cover the first 2 parts of Hofsted theory. And the second presenter is Busra, that she's going to continue covers the other dimension in Hofsted theories, because we believe that Hofsted theory is the ones that Inpex corporations can adopt in order to improve their performance. And the last presenter is Shashika, that she's going to cover the global firm staffing policy and also will give you the recommendations to Inpex corporations. Alright, so before we jump into the topic, I want to identify the 4 key main words that will present in this presentation. So they are culture, values, norm, and cross-culture. So according to the Cambridge Dictionary, culture is like the ways of life, especially the general comments and belief of the particular group at the particular times and place. And when we talk about cultures, there's always the relationship between values and norm. So basically, value is like the standard guidelines, while norm is a specific guideline. So value generally is like the specific. Oh no, it's not a specific. It's like a general comments like what is good and what is bad. While norm is the specific regulations or rules that what people should do and what people shouldn't do in the culture or the social situations. Alright, so and for the cross culture, because nowadays that a lot of company is moving from a normal operations into the globalizations. It means that they cooperate in a different country across the world. So that's why there's a problems according to the cross-culture management. So that brings us to the case study that we will discuss today. It's about the Inpex Corporation. So just a little bit overview of Inpex. It's like the corporations as like the company oil and gas explorations that have the main office based in Japan, and it also have a business in other different countries, like 20 different countries across the world. And in this particular case study, we're going to look at the Inpex Australia only. And the Inpex Australia has the headquarters located in the Perth, and it also has the office located in Darwin. And this is the place where the LNP projects of the Inpex Corporation take place. And as you guys know that in Darwin, there's a lot of Aborigines people there. It's like the traditional people living there. So in that cases, the company also hire the Aborigines people and Islander there in order to work, because like Aborigines people is like they are living in Darwin in the Westbourne, so they know a lot of locations and stuff to do there. So when the company hires Aborigines people, they have like a problem with cross culture, and the problem with cross culture is also mentions about the health, safety, and work performance. And these 3 balance and these 3 elements also impacts on the productivity and communications as communication of the business as the global. Alright, so for the Hofstede theory, I'm going to cover the first 2 parts, which talking about the individualism versus collectivism, and the second one is the femininity versus the masculinity. So as you guys can see the graph right here, the Hofstede and Minko graph for the individualisms right here. For the individualism, it shows that Japanese have the collectivism method, and Australia have the individualism method. So what does it mean by that? So individualism is mean like you work as the collectivism means that you work as a team, so you work like it's not I, but it's a we. So in this part, we can see that Japan is like work collectively with the people, like working collaborations in the company, even though they work with foreigner. But the thing is like they work collaborates with the people in the company. While Australia, they normally works like using the individualism theory, which means like they don't want to really work to cooperate with other. They want to have the work done by themselves. So in this point, just about our recommendations. So we will recommend the Inpex Australia to adopt as their parent company is to adopt the collectivisms, meaning to say that because the Inpex Australia will adapt in will like work in the Darwins with the Aborigines people. So this is the good solutions for them in order to working collectively with the Aborigines people, even though they have a different culture, but they have to work as one. They have to work together in order to enhance their productivity and also the work performance. So for the second one is about the femininity versus the masculinity. This one, the data show clearly that in Japan, they have the equal opportunity between men and women. So it doesn't really matter like you have a kid, you are women, as long as you have ability to work, you can work as a man do. So this is the best practice in Australia. So I think the Inpex Australia also needs to adapt the strategies with the Aborigines people. So it's like the Aborigines people, no matter like they should have the equality between they should have the equality between men and women, even though they are Aborigines. So the company should hire equality between men and women to the Aborigines people to work in the Inpex Australia. So that's the end of my part. So Busra will continue from it. Thank you.
Thanks, Socheata. From the theory of Hofstede's cultural dimension, I'm going to examine indulgence, power distance, long-term and short-term orientation. When looking at the indulgence, it examines happiness and life control. In society with high freedoms like Australia, individuals are willingness to realize their desires with regard to enjoying life and having fun. They like spending time with their relatives and friends. This priority is to live that at that moment. From this point of view, we know that Australia is good at indulgence. However, for Inpex company, it is important to improve work-life balance in workplace. The company is located in Darwin and they have Aborigine staff. They should adapt their values to engage them. Australia is a country that gives you a value to work-life balance. It is stated that work-life balance is about responding individual circumstances to help individuals fulfill their responsibilities and aspirations to lead to mutual benefits of individual, business and society at large. There is an example about the company in Australia and how they are good at work-life balance. It's suggested that in the beginning of 2004, IBM in Australia offered to its staff to pay leave for 12 weeks. And when you did this, they thought that it wasn't the only thing to do. However, it raised retention and saved recruitment costs. And also, IBM offers flexible work options for their male staff. From this perspective, social activities can be made for Aborigines. It can be a family day in order to socialize more in workplace. This will increase productivity. Also, more flexible working hours can be applied for them. And for the power distance and dimension, it states that high power distance individuals are less likely to question the expertise of acclaimed experts, while low power distance individuals are more likely to question the legitimacy of authority figures and will therefore be less influenced by them. Australia has an equal power distance. They are based on work performance, but in Japan, it's impossible to reach the top level. Management consists of senior people, and young people cannot reach the top. It's not easy to promote. For the Inpex company, They can prepare some training stuff for aborigines to explain about work performance process and to engage them into the company. At this way, speak-up culture will improve and they have more rights to talk about in workplace. And as a result, they will be more productive. For the long-term and short-term orientation of Hofstede dimension, it states that this dimension describes how every society has to maintain some links with its own past while dealing with the challenges of the present and future. And societies prioritize these two essential goals differently. And for the LNG project, it's operated in Darwin, and Inpex has to work with aborigines because they are the ones who live in there and they know location there. For short-term plan, Inpex Australia needs to have a plan to maintain amounts of aborigine people in the company. For the long term, after the succession of this short-term Inpex can use this as a long-term plan. Since this company is a multinational company which operates so many places in the world. When looking at the Inpex company, they have reconciliation plan for 2 years from 2016 to 2018. It's a short-term period. And in order to improve this dimension as a long term, the company can apply other reconciliation plan in other countries. This plan for Aboriginal people to engage them more into the company. It's possible to make a plan for other countries that have indigenous people like Africa. And that's the end of my part. Shashika will continue on.
Okay, thank you, Busra. Hello, guys. Today, my part is to cover the global firm staffing policy and provide some possible recommendations to Inpex to overcome from the cross-cultural management issue. So, as my friends explained you earlier, the cross-cultural management is essential for the development of business in context to Inpex. The impact of contextual factors are related to the effectiveness of collaboration between the different process, resources and work functions of the organization so that production efficiency can be improved. The contextual factors are also essentials for the cross-cultural management within the organization. It also addressed the team safety and efficiency issues. The critical issue that are observed around the contextual factor are related to the lack of awareness of cultural norms and practice, lack of intercultural relationship skills and communication gaps. These kind of issues are prevailing in Inpex organization in terms of contextual factors. The cross-cultural management within Inpex is affected by these factors that results reduced efficiency of work. Inpex is using geocentric staffing policy to seek the best people for the key jobs throughout the organization, regardless of their nationality. Company has to make best use of its HR as company pay more attention to recruit Aboriginals to the company. They use this approach and engage Aborigine people more productively to the workforce. As a result of this, company doesn't have to face expertise management failures. To wrap up our presentation and provide you the conclusions. To sum up, these are our recommendations to Inpex to overcome the cross-cultural management. So there should be the application of practice in order to develop cross-cultural collaboration in the organization. This can be achieved by omitting communication gap among the employees. In order to enhance the communication and productivity from Hofstede theory, we recommend Inpex to use collectivism, indulgence, short-term and long-term orientations, because this will help to increase the work performance, work-life balance as well as the future strategies. And the second one, there should be
implementations of effective norms and regulations to enhance the cross-cultural management. Training programs should be conducted to develop interactual relationship skills among the employees. It can be helpful in the overall management of cross-cultural environment within the organization. So it's brings us to the end of this presentation, and thank you everyone for the support and paying attention. And here is our reference list, and thank you very much.